everyone, greetings of the hour. This is the third and the concluding part of the topic clauses and its kind. In this session, we shall discuss about the adverb clause. Now, adverb clause is slightly complex topic because it is a lengthy topic as it has to cover the 10 types of adverb clauses that you should know. Right? So in this session, I would request you to be a little more attentive to the explanations provided because there are a lot of complexities in between where you need to understand and identify the tips and the tricks that would help you to practice this particular topic. Right? So let us learn more about adverb clause. This is the part 3 or the concluding part of the presentation on types of clauses. In this session, we are going to discuss about the adverb clause. Now, what is an adverb clause or what is an adverb? Just a quick recap of it. Adverb modifies the verb, adjective, another word or adverb, right? Adverb modifies the verb, adjective or another adverb. For example, he walks fast. Now, walks is the verb and fast is the adverb. Why? Because it is modifying the verb walks. How he walks? He walks fast. Okay. Similarly, he walks very fast. Now, we have the verb walk here. Now, walks fast, we just understood that it is the adverb. Then what is very? Now, what is very doing? Very is another adverb which is modifying the adverb fast. So, what did we learn? That adverb modifies the verb and adverb modifies another adverb. In the second example, there was an adverb already, that is fast, and with the help of very, we have introduced another adverb to modify the already used adverb in the sentence, right? Now, the third function of adverb is that it modifies the adjective. Amit is very intelligent. Amit is intelligent. Intelligent is the adjective. Now, very is the adverb that is modifying the adjective or telling you more about adjective. Okay, so adverb has a vast function to do because it is used for the verb, it is used for an adjective, and it is also used for another adverb. Right? And that is the reason why adverbs are usually complex or slightly complicated topic. Okay, so let us understand about the adverb clause here. Right? We have completed the noun clause. We have also dealt with the adjective clause. And now this is the third and most important one because it is very, very vast in the sentence. Right? So the adverb clause is a subordinate clause that does the work of an adverb. And what does an adverb do? It modifies the verb, adjective, or another adverb, right? Now, example, we woke up when the alarm rang. Now, what have we done here? We have used it after a verb. We woke up is the main clause. When the alarm rang is the clause, and it has been used just after the verb. When I was explaining you about the adjective clause, I told you how to find the difference between an adjective clause and an adverb clause. Adjective clause, if it is placed just after the noun, will work as an adjective clause. And if a clause that is modifying the verb in a sentence, it would be your adverb clause. So here, when the alarm rang is placed just after the verb, and so it is modifying the verb used in the sentence. We woke up when the alarm rang. When did we wake? up, we woke up when the alarm rang. Now, adverb clause can be of different types, right? And there are 10 types. Yeah, there are 10 types of adverbs. Each one has its own function, and so that they add a variety in a sentence. Okay, now the 10 types have been mentioned in the form of acronym: M, 2 P's, T, 4 C's, R, E. If you understand this acronym, if you remember this acronym, you can identify the 10 different types of adverbs in a sentence, or that can be used in a sentence. And what does it each stand for? M stand for manner, that is adverb of manner. 2 P's, that is adverb of place and adverb of purpose. T stands for adverb of time. 4 C's, that is adverb of condition, concession, consequence, comparison. Right? I'll read that again. 4 C's: condition, concession, consequence, comparison. Then we have R, which stands for reason, adverb of reason, and E, it stands for adverb of extent. Okay, so these are different types of adverbs you will find in a sentence, and depending on the function, every time that I pick up on clauses, I keep it in my mind, or I mention it, that it has to be the function. You have to focus on the function that each clause performs. Depending on the function, you can very easily identify whether it's a noun clause, adjective clause, or an adverb clause. Okay, and knowing these 10 types makes it easier for you to identify immediately from the given sentence. Okay, unless you are aware of the types of adverbs, you may end up mixing it up with an adjective or a noun clause. So it is important for you to understand the concepts, to understand the functions of adverbs, nouns, or adjective for that matter. So let's deal with these 10 types one by one. Now we will go by the order of the acronym that was mentioned previously. So we begin with adverb of manner. Now what is adverb of manner? When we use the adverb clause of manner, it is usually used to show the manner in which an action is performed. Now understand this, children, most of the adverbs here are referring to the verb or the action that is being done. How the action is done, when the action is done, where the action is done, what is the consequence of that action, what is the condition of doing that action. So everything revolves around the verb, the action that is being done in a given sentence. Okay, so adverb clause of manner tells you how the action is performed, shows the manner in which an action is performed. And the associated question for the adverb clause of manner is how. So if it is answering the question how, you will understand that it is the adverb clause of manner. Okay, and since it is a subordinate clause, we know that it is introduced by the subordinating conjunctions. Now there is a list of subordinating conjunctions that gives us the idea or conveys the meaning of how an action was done. Okay, so that is something that you have to understand or learn by heart, because there's a list of the subordinating conjunctions, and some conjunctions are used for manner, some are used for time, some for place. Then you can see that there's some of the conjunctions, subordinating conjunctions, are overlapping, right? You may find it in the place, you may also find it in somewhere as how, okay, or some condition. So somewhere or the other you may see it overlapping, but then you should again, I come down, zero down to functions. You should be clear of the function of that particular clause that it is performing in the given sentence. Okay, and of course the associated questions. So clauses or phrases or anything like that come or revolves around these two or three rules or hints or tricks that we have in our hand to identify. If you thorough that, you will understand it. So adverb clause of manner answers the question how the action was done, shows the manner in which the action was done. Okay, and it is introduced by the subordinating conjunctions as, so, as if, as though, in the way that, how, etc. Okay, for example, do as I taught you. Now, do is the principal clause or the main clause. We don't have the subject there because that is omitted. So we just have the verb there, do. Do as I taught you. See, it has been introduced by a subordinating conjunction as, and it is placed just after the verb, right? So it is describing the verb. It is telling you, also modifying the verb. How you should do as I taught you. So that is the adverb clause of manner, because it is telling you of, or it is answering the question how. Okay, if as plus clause appears in the first sentence, then the principal clause or the main clause will begin with so. As they had learned, so will they write. So what does it mean? The principal clause becomes so will they write. Like means that they will they write as they had learned, right? So when we use as in the beginning of a sentence, as they had learned, so will they write would be your main clause. That means your main clause will have a word so in its beginning. Okay, so these are some structures. See how different it is when we compare it with the general structure of a sentence, that is SVO. Sometimes we do get these kind of sentences where it is totally away from the general structure, but then again you should know the function that it is performing, the way the message that it is conveying, the questions that it is answering to. Okay, so second one is place. So first one was adverb clause of manner, in which we understood that how an action was done. In adverb clause of place, we get the answer to the question where that action was done. Where, okay, shows the place where an action takes place. It is introduced by the subordinating conjunctions where, wherever, whence, whither, etc. So there are so many other subordinating conjunctions that come under the category of adverb clause of place, because it tells you where the action was done. What you need to identify is that whether that clause is answering the question where, telling you of the place the action was done. Okay, he lives where it snows a lot. He lives is the main clause. Where it snows a lot is the adverb clause of place, because it is telling you of the place where he lives. See the question, it is placed after the verb, right? Introduced by the subordinating conjunction where. So he lives where? Where it snows a lot. It's answering the question where. Okay, so place, time, manner seems quite easy, because it just when the action was done, where the action was done, how the action was done, it becomes easy. Just ask the questions. Then comes purpose. Why? Why was that action done? Right? So why is used when the purpose of an action is to be described. It is introduced by the subordinating conjunction so that, in order that, lest, etc. Okay, can be used when the person it refers to is different from the subject of the principal clause. Now this is one example I have picked because sometimes we do get these kind of sentences. Otherwise, if a sentence gives the answer to the question why, you should know that that is the adverb clause of purpose, sorry. Okay, but then you can get a situation where you have a person it refers to is different from the subject of the principal clause. For example, she met Jane there so that Anna wouldn't know. Why did she meet Jane there? So that Anna wouldn't know. So the purpose of meeting Jane there was that Anna wouldn't know. So that is the purpose behind an action being done. So this is how you need to ask the question. Okay. So why was that action done? So that Anna wouldn't know. It's that simple. So where you are focusing on, you're focusing on the associated questions and the answer that you get. The other things remain the same because it is adverb clause. It will be just after the verb and it will be introduced with the subordinating conjunctions. Now you have to understand which conjunctions are used and the functions of those conjunctions. But if you don't remember those many conjunctions, what you should do is you should ask the question, related question, the associated questions with that of the clause, right? Why the action was done. Ask the question to the verb, why this was done. And if you get the answer, that is the adverb clause of purpose. See the other example, can be used when the original subject is repeated in the subordinate clause. This is one more example. He tried his best that he might succeed. He tried his best is the main clause. And why did he try his best? Why? Again, see, it is answering the question why. Why is the associated question for adverb clause of purpose. So why this action was done, why he tried his best, that he might succeed. Okay, so telling you the purpose of an action. It's not because, it is the purpose. Okay. Next we have the adverb clause of time. Now, as you know, time tells you when an action takes place, right? So, adverb clause of time tells you or shows the time when an action takes place. The associated question is very simple. When. You ask the question when the action was done, the answer that you get would be your adverb clause of time. It is introduced by the subordinating conjunctions when, while, before, after, since, as, whenever, as long as soon as, no sooner than, till, until. These are the list of all the subordinating conjunctions associated with time. But when you read the sentence, you will understand that the action or the clause is telling you about the time an action was done. Again, I come back to the function of the clause. The moment you understand the function of the clause, you would know what answer is it giving you. So here, if you get the answer to the question when, that would be your adverb clause of time. For example, they came while we were in class. They came. That is your principal clause or the main clause, right? So they came. When did they come? They came while we were in the class. So while is telling you of the time period that you were in the class, that was the time that they came. Okay, so it is answering the question, the associated question, when the action was done. This action was done while they were in the class. Okay, the next one is the condition. Adverb clause of condition tells you about the condition or circumstances for something to happen. Some condition of the action to happen. It is the principal clause or the main clause that states what will happen if the conditions are fulfilled. So there are two parts of the sentence here. So one part will tell you of the condition and the main clause will tell you what will happen if the condition is fulfilled. So that is how we understand the adverb clause of condition. And it would have the subordinating conjunctions like if, unless, provided that, as long as. So these are all conditions that has been placed, as long as you work hard, right? Or whether, in case. These are all conditions, on condition that. So all these associated words, all these subordinating conjunctions would help you tell you of the condition being put up. And then the main clause will tell you what would happen if the condition is fulfilled or not. Okay. Now you see here I have mentioned unless, which convey a negative condition. Always remember that whenever you use unless, you will have a negative word in the sentence. Unless you work hard, you shall not succeed. Not. So always remember, if you are using unless as a subordinating conjunction, you will have to use a not in your sentence. So let's look at the example here. You can enter provided you wash your feet. Now, you can enter is the main clause. Enter is the verb. You can enter. Now, there is a condition. You can enter provided you wash your feet. So, provided you wash your feet is the condition. And what will happen if you fulfill that condition? You can enter. You get that? So that is how you have two parts of a sentence when you have the condition. One part will tell you of the condition and the other part will tell you of the action that will be fulfilled if the condition is fulfilled. Okay. To talk about the future, unreal things that did not happen, two possibilities. Now these are some of the usage of the condition, that is the adverb clause of condition, when we talk about future or when we talk about unreal things that did not happen but we presume, or two possibilities, then we do use the condition clause. Okay. For example, if I were famous, I would live lavishly. It's talking about something that is unreal. It has not happened. We are just presuming. If I were famous, that is the condition. If I were famous, what would happen because of this condition? What action will be fulfilled? I would live lavishly. Or if I get a holiday, we can go out. We're talking about the future. Things that did not happen, but when it happens, the action will be done. If I get a holiday, that is the condition. If I get a holiday, what will happen? We can go out. So this is the way you would find the sentences and adverb clause of condition placed in the given sentence, right? So what you need to do here, again I tell you, you need to identify the clause and identify the function of that clause. Use the associated questions there. Once you do so, you would be able to identify it easily. The next one is adverb clause of concession or contrast. Now, when you hear the word contrast, you know that we do different things, right? So what does it imply? It implies that something surprising is conveyed in the main clause when compared to what is said in the subordinate clause. Two contrasting statements, right? In the same sentence, in the main clause, you have something surprising, and when you compare it in the subordinating clause, you would find that it is totally contrary, right? For example, although she worked hard, her presentation was not selected. Although she worked hard, that is something surprising, or so to say, the action that has been discussed about. It is compared. Although she worked hard, on one side she worked hard, instead of getting successful because she worked hard, definitely the fruits of hard work is success. But then here does it tell you? Although she worked hard, her presentation was not selected. That is surprising. That is contrary to what is said in the first part, because in the first part we do found the action, that is she worked hard. We found that she worked hard, right? But then what happened? Instead of being successful, the contrasting expression is mentioned in the other part, that is subordinate, or the main clause, that is her presentation was not selected. Her presentation was not selected, although she worked hard. So at times, the function of adverbs is such where it expresses the contrasting expressions or ideas. Okay, so when that is being put together and used with the help of the subordinating conjunctions like although, though, even though, however, whether, etc., you would identify them as the adverb clause of concession, or which is known as contrast. Okay, so you have to identify it with the help of the conjunctions although, though. Or if you don't remember the conjunctions, just look at the function. There are two parts, and if there are contrasting ideas in both the parts, then you can identify it as the adverb clause of contrast or concession. Sometimes we make a contrast with something said in the main clause. Like, though he likes coffee, he prefers tea. Sometimes we make a contrast in what we said in the main clause, and then we add something different from what is said in the main clause. Not the surprising contrast, but we try to express something which is not matching to what we are saying in the main clause. Like, he prefers tea. He prefers tea is the main clause. He prefers tea. But the clause that we add is slightly different from that idea. He prefers tea, though he likes coffee. So this is the way we see the contrast. Totally different, surprising contrast. Also, at the same time, maybe adding some other opinion than what has been mentioned here. He prefers tea, though he likes coffee. Okay, so though he likes coffee, he prefers tea is the structure. That means the adverb clause of concession or contrast will come in the beginning, followed by the main clause. Okay, so this will come out of practice, children, right? So if you keep practicing that, if you read the sentences 2-3 times, read the examples 2-3 times, connect it with the adverb clauses and the functions of that, then I think it will be easy for you to immediately identify the function and the types of clauses in this given sentence. Okay. Then we have the adverb clause of consequence or result. Result. That means it tells us the result or consequence of something. There was this action. So what happened? Something happened, right? So the result of an action being done is something that comes under the category of adverb clause of consequence or result. Is introduced by the subordinating conjunction so, then there would be an adjective in between, and that. So that can be used together again, right? Such that, etc. Now these are some of the subordinating conjunctions that gives you the idea of the adverb clause of consequence or result. Okay, some action was done, right? So what was the result of that action? For example, the storm was so strong that we lost our way. So you see here, the storm was strong. That is the main clause. But when we introduce the subordinating conjunction so that, we use the first part in the main clause and the other part in the subordinating clause to connect both the sentences or both the clauses. So here we see the storm was so strong, an adjective in between, Yes, the storm was so strong, that is the main clause now, that we lost our way. What was the result of the strong storm? That we lost our way. So an action happened and the consequence of that action followed in the subordinating clause. Okay. The conjunctions are placed separately with one word appearing in the main clause and the other in the subordinating clause, okay, or the adverb clause of consequence. Sometimes the words so that and such that come together, right? So don't get confused which one to choose. Both are your consequence. But then how is it used? Let's see that. Complete your work quickly so that you can go to play. Okay, complete your work quickly so that you can go to play. Now, we have used so that together, and that tells you of the result of the action that you would do. So, you would complete your work quickly, and what will be the result of that action? It will be followed by the other part, that is, the result would be that you can go to play. Okay, so that is the subordinating conjunction used here to fulfill the function of adverb clause of consequence or result. So what? If you do this, so what? So what will happen? This will happen. So that is how you identify the adverb clause of consequence or result. Then we have adverb clause of comparison. Degree of comparisons you have done in adjectives, right? So here too we have adverb clause of comparison. Just as the name suggests, it compares two things. Indicates comparison between people or things. Okay, is introduced by the subordinating conjunctions. Now comparison of degree than or as, adjective in between as, no less than, or comparison of manner, will use the relative adverb as. Okay, so we have adverb of comparison, adverb clause of comparison, which is further divided into two parts. Comparison of degree, which will take the subordinating clauses as than, as, dash as, no less than. And we have comparison of manner, where the subordinating conjunction would be your relative adverb as. Okay, don't get confused. Let's do it here. He is intelligent than his sister. We are comparing here. Okay, so he is intelligent is your main clause, right? The subordinating clause will be than his sister. Now, if you have used the word than, then than his sister would become your adverb clause of comparison. Okay, then the next one is Raj is as strong as he is sensitive. Here we have used the combination of degree of comparison by using the subordinating conjunction as, adjective as. Raj is as strong as he is sensitive. So again we see here that there is comparison used. Raj is as strong is your main clause or the principal clause, and we had seen that when we are using so adjective that, in the same way when we use as adjective as, we will have one part of the subordinating conjunction in the main clause and then the adjective in between, and the other part of the subordinating conjunction will be connected to the subordinating clause or the adverb clause of whatever comparison or consequence, right? So that is the structure. You should remember that one part, if subordinating conjunctions are of two words, as adjective as, then what do? We have one part in the main clause, as in this case, Raj is as strong as he is sensitive. So we have kept in both the clauses. It ended as I wanted. It ended as I wanted. That is the manner. Relative, adverb used here, as. It ended as I wanted. I'm using the comparison of manner here, right? So this is the way we understand and identify the adverb clause of comparison. The ninth type of adverb is adverb clause of reason, which is quite common in our conversation, or we use it quite often. Because, reason, right, shows why an action takes place. Why an action takes place. It is introduced by the subordinating conjunctions because, since, as, that. Okay, why an action takes place. She was sad. Why was that action done? Why was she sad? Right? Because she missed the train. So you get a reason for that particular action. Right? This happened. Why? Because of this. So when you get the reason for some action being done, that would be your adverb clause of reason. And it is introduced with a very, very common subordinating conjunction, that is because. You have since, you have as. These are three, I believe, that we very commonly use. Because in every sentence, why did you do this? Because I wanted to. So that is how we give reason to the action that we have done. And the last one is the adverb clause of extent. As the name suggests, how much, extent, to what extent, right? So indicates the degree to which an action is done, right? It tells you about the extent to which an action was done. It is introduced by the subordinating conjunctions as or the dash the. Okay. Now, they practiced as much as they could. They practiced is the main clause. As much as they could. What is the extent of their practice? As much as they could. Right? You should practice as much as you can to master the grammar topics. Right? That is the extent to which you should practice. They practiced as much as they could. So as much as they could is your adverb clause of extent. Okay. The more you have, the more you want. Now see here, we have used the twice. The main clause is the more you want. And what is the extent? The more you have. Okay. So if you want, you would have more. So that is the idea that it presents, but then the way it is written is it starts with the extent and then it goes to the main clause. The more you have, the more you want. Fine. So these are some kind of adverb clauses, and very, very prominent and common ones are your adverb clause of time, place, manner, reason, condition. Right? These are some of the ones which are very, very frequently or most commonly used. But you should be able to identify the other adverb clauses too, because once you get that, you would not confuse it with the other clauses in the given sentence, where you know that a sentence is a combination of more than one clauses. It can have phrases. So you should not get confused with the function of each one. Right? So unless and until you clear that function, you will not be able to identify which adverb or which noun or which adjective clause are we talking about. And these things are so very important for you to understand, children, because clauses, as I told you, is the stepping block for you for your other advanced topics that you would have to do. And that is, it is going to take you to the transformation of sentences. And there, the clauses and the knowledge of the types of clauses plays a very, very important role. Okay. So These are the 10 adverb clauses that you should practice. Read it again, understand it, and learn the subordinating conjunctions, learn the functions and the associated questions. You are going to master it, I know. Now let us see some examples at random so that you are able to identify and point out the different kinds of clauses, adverb clauses used here. Okay. Now see the first one. Unless you do the dishes, you cannot watch the movie. Now, the first thing is I told you that whenever you use unless, you will have a negative word in the other part of the sentence. So here you see you cannot. So that is the structure. Always remember to use a not when you are using unless. Okay. So unless you do the dishes, you cannot watch the movie. So what function is it doing? Unless you do the dishes. Unless tells you of the condition, right? Unless you do this work, unless you perform this action, the other action will not follow. So there's a condition to move on to the other action. That is your adverb clause of condition, right? If, unless you do this, you cannot watch the movie. Okay. Work hard lest you should fail. Work hard. Then why should you work hard? So what? If you work hard, what will happen? You would pass. So work hard lest you should fail. Lest means or else. Okay. Work hard. Purpose of working hard. Or if you don't work hard, what will happen? Now understand this, children. Just as I told you that if you use unless, you should have a not word over there. Similarly, if you use lest, work hard, lest you should fail, you would use the combination of should there. It is always used with should. Okay. Work hard lest you should fail. Okay. The next one. The box is heavier than you think. What do you immediately? I think you can understand that it is the comparison. The box is heavier than you think. You're comparing with what you thought and what actually is, right? Dance as though no one is watching. How you should dance. That is what is the manner or how the action should be done. Dance as though no one is watching. It is telling you of the manner in which the action should be done or performed. Okay. Dance as though no one is watching. Annie gets excited whenever she sees a magic show. Annie gets excited whenever she sees a magic show. So here what do we get? We get the answer to the question when. So it tells you of the time, and this is the adverb clause of time. Then we have we met kind people wherever we went. Wherever we went. Wherever tells you of the place, right? So this is the way you identify the different adverbs and the clauses. And remember, whenever you say clauses, don't forget to find out whether the other part of the sentence has a subject and verb. If it doesn't, you know that it would not be a clause, it would be a phrase. And a sentence is made up of the combination of clauses and phrases. So don't just pick up a few group of words and say that, oh, this was the adverb clause, because phrases also have adverbs. Phrases also have adjectives and nouns, right? So there you should be very, very careful that first and foremost is that you should identify the subject verb combination and then accordingly find the associated questions and the functions of the clauses that they are performing, and then look into the subordinating conjunctions used there. These are few things that you have to keep in mind. It's not just that easy, children. Just as you do the math sum, you go step by step, right? Similarly, grammar also is something where you have to go step by step performing the action. Okay.
So students, we have at last discussed all the three important clauses that you had to know, that is the noun clause, the adverb clause and the adjective clauses. Okay, now this is something that you have to learn and practice it thoroughly, because this particular topic would help you to do the transformation of sentences very easily. Right? So basically this is for class 12 students, that you needed to practice on these three clauses to work on your transformation of sentences. Okay, now the only advice that I can give you is practice, practice and practice. Now this is what you have to do from your side. I tried to explain you all the details and the tricks and tips or hints here and there to identify, because unless you identify, you cannot work on it to change it, to use it in the sentences. So from my side, I have explained you the details. From your side, you have to apply it. That means you have to practice it in some sentences. Okay, if you pick up one or two sentences each for each of the clauses and the types that have been mentioned, I'm sure it won't be too difficult for you, right? So all the best, take care, God bless and happy learning.